It's me, Joe Sayers, back here for the Music Factory Studios. Today I want to show you something really cool about drive speed. So I have basically three of the same types of drive in three different containers. So we have the internal drive of the MacBook Pro, which is an M.2 soldered on SSD. I have a TechQ Thunderbolt container that's a Thunderbolt 3 NVMe drive that houses a Sabrent drive. And I also have a cheapo SSK NVMe drive that is USB Type-C 3.1. Just an enclosure, you put the NVMe drive in. The Thunderbolt works the same way. So we'll do our little test here to see what the differences are. We're going to do 1 gigabyte. And first we're going to select our target drive first. We'll pull up our storage or our dashboard monitor here. Okay, what's the issue? Is it because I'm screen recording or something? Weird. Okay. Well, let's force quit that. And now we'll reopen it. There we go. Okay. Now that that's all settled, we'll select the drive. Select the desktop here. This is the internal MacBook drive. Now it's a pretty quick drive and it does its job very well. We'll let it go through its second time and stop it on the second time. Because here's the thing. On these USB enclosures, usually when you do these tests, the second time through on these tests, you get the best results. So there's our results for the internal drive, 1200 and 2000. Now let's test the USB drive. So we'll go down here. It's called SSK. We'll hit start. It writes at about 800, reads at about 800. That's pretty normal. Sometimes it'll get up to 920, depending on, what you're doing and how hot the drive is. So as we can see, we get about 900 on each, right at it. Now let's do the Thunderbolt drive. Okay. Now the interesting part about the Thunderbolt drive is the Thunderbolt drive is half full already. It's a 500 gig SSD and I've got 230 gigs left. It's faster than the internal SSD on my MacBook, which is kind of shocking when you think about it. So we got 1200 write and 2000 read on the internal SSD. And with this Thunderbolt drive, it's 1500 write, 2100 read. And this TechQ, most of the enclosures I had looked at did not come with a drive pre-installed. They were just the enclosure and they were like $150 to $200. And so this was the cheapest case that I could find, or a container, or drive enclosure is what they're actually called if you search for them on, say, something like Amazon or Newegg or something. And the interesting part about all of this is I ordered this one not knowing that it had a drive pre-installed. So I just ordered the only one they had. And when it got here, I checked it out, plugged it up to see if it would recognize it in macOS because it's called a TechQ. I thought, I wonder if macOS will even see it. And I was going to stick an NVMe drive. When I put it in, it showed me it had a 400 and a 512 gig SSD, whatever it is, 480. And I paid like $129 for it. So it's a TechQ PSE12 NVMe drive. And I like this drive. The interesting part about it was, once I got looking, I thought, oh no, I bought one of these Thunderbolt drives again that I can't change the SSD. Well, when you get it, you think, oh no, I can't. But there's two little rubber feet on the bottom. If you pull those rubber feet off, there's 4 screws and it opens up. It's easy to change out the drive if you have to. So I would recommend anyone that has a Thunderbolt enabled laptop to think about getting a Thunderbolt 3 drive if you want external storage. You're going to do a lot better with a Thunderbolt drive as far as speed goes than you will with the USB-C enclosure, even if you've got the same type of drive, which ironically, they both have the same Sabrent drive in them. So you get the same type of quality in the drive, but the speed of Thunderbolt is so much more expansive than USB Type-C is, even on a Mac. And the other interesting part is the USB-C drive, the longer the cable, the worse the speed. The cable I have is maybe 6-7 inches long. And, so it has to be really close to the computer. And, it still only runs at around 900 meg read and write. And I mean, it's a good drive. Don't get me wrong. It's great for HDR playback, for, just playing back movies to watch, or, recording audio for audio professionals. This is far more than what you would ever need to play back large projects like 120, 150, 180 track Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton sessions of audio. The USB-C drive will be far and away more than enough for that, especially at 24-bit. Even at like 96K sample rate, you'll be completely fine. But if you're doing video, as you can see here, 4K is kind of an issue here on this machine with the USB drive. Now, they're all NVMe drives, so they're all the same type of drive. None of them are SATA or anything of that nature. And what you have, the difference is just the absolute speed. So you can do playback of multiple 4K multiple 4K videos on the Thunderbolt drive, whereas you can do 2-ish on the USB drive. So if and you're not going to be doing like 10-bit off of the USB drive. You're going to need a Thunderbolt drive for that. But what I found really interesting was this Thunderbolt drive was faster than the Mac's internal drive, which was kind of shocking. And, it's half full, so you expect it to slow down somewhat. But when I first got it, I was getting around 1600 right. So it hasn't slowed down that much. And, compared to the internal Mac drive, which is going to be a little bit slower than normal because I'm screen recording using the built-in screen recorder for Mac OS. But as you can see, the read speeds are comparable, but the write speeds on the Thunderbolt drive are about 400-ish megabits faster than the internal MacBook. And that's pretty cool. Now, I'm going to open up Sensei here real quick. And we're going to go to storage. And let's do a quick little look here. There is a test that you can benchmark with Sensei of these drives, which is pretty interesting. So we'll do the Thunderbolt drive really quickly. We'll run the benchmark and you can see what it says it reads and writes at. This is running read and write basically at the same time. So you get about 1500 read and 1300 write if you're doing them at the same time parallel. So that's pretty good. Okay. And as you can see, I've run this test before, and the Tech Q was getting 2.6 gigs a second read, 1.9 gigs write, which is pretty good. What did we get this time? We got the same. Interesting. Now let's go back and let's do this is the unknown drive. The unknown drive is the SSK, which is just, I named it that because that's the enclosure I bought. But it's a Sabrent drive, so we'll benchmark it. Let's see what it says. Unable to find writable volume on this disk. Huh? Why? Maybe because it is exFAT. Maybe. I don't know. Interesting. Let's try this one more time. Nope. Wait. Browse. Open. There we go. Okay, now it's going to do it. So this one hasn't been tested yet. Now, an older drive I had that was a USB Type-C and the enclosure died. That's the reason I bought the SSK. Ran at 1 gig read and about 900 meg write, which is pretty awesome for a USB enclosure. It was I want to say it was an Asus, but it was USB 3.2, and it was just a fuzz faster than this SSK drive. And it says this one is running at 917 read and 841 and a half write. So that's pretty good. And I think I've run a benchmark on the internal drive before with Sensei, so we'll see if I have here. We'll click benchmarks and it'll show us here. That way I don't run it during a screen recording because it'll show a lower speed. It's 2.57 gigs read and 1.24 write. So the TechQ is comparable to the internal drive when it comes to this benchmark. The Thunderbolt drive beats it in the Blackmagic disk speed test. So, I mean, I can't say enough good things about this little Thunderbolt drive. It came with a 480 gig SSD. They have a 256 version, a 1 terabyte, and a 480. And I didn't even pay attention to that when I bought it. I thought it was just an enclosure. I didn't even read that it had that included because it was still cheaper than just enclosures. And when I got it and got the disc, I'm like, yes. So when I opened it up, I'm like, wonder what kind of disc they've got in here. Thinking it was probably a Samsung or some no-name knockoff, which would have been really bad. But it was a Sabrent, so that was awesome. So if you're thinking about external storage, there was a quick test, especially if you're on a Mac or Linux and you're thinking about, is Thunderbolt really worth it? Yes, it is. And especially for drives, it really makes a huge difference. USB is not at that, USB 3 is just not at the same speed level yet. Now USB 4 is going to be something comparable. It's going to have Thunderbolt 3 abilities, and you're going to see that on AMD machines and ARM-based Macs coming this fall. So that's interesting. That's going to be great. So I hope this helped somebody out. If it did, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to see more from the Music Factory, hit the little bell if you want a notification that says when we post new videos. And since you're already here on YouTube, check out one of these videos right here at the bottom of the screen. All right, guys and gals, we'll see you next time. Have a great day, y'all.